Like, when I look at everything that's valued, so your time is one of the most valuable things that we could ever, that you could share with us. So, first of all, it's like, I'm glad we're here. We're all in the right place. We're learning about the thyroid tonight, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. I thought about making a joke, talking about something else, but I was like, no, we'll get to the point. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
If we start to come together, how often you go to a doctor's office and you leave having no idea and leave with more questions than answers?
Every time.
Every time. So one of my goals or my heart tonight is like, hey, let's see if you can actually like answer some of those questions and talk about big picture, what's going on with this thing called the thyroid, and like understand why can't anybody do anything about it? Because oftentimes it's like, oh, you have this thyroid issue, but what is there to do about it? So it's like, we're going to talk about some of the deeper science. So bear with me as I nerd out a little bit. Sometimes I start talking. If I'm talking over everybody's head, just give me a wave and I'll kind of tone it back. Okay? So a couple of goals. We want to start to understand the root cause, talk about why we do things the way we do, and kind of how we got to the perspectives that we're looking at now. Okay? And hopefully we can give some hope for healing and then figure out what we can do from there. Okay? Bear with me as I don't want to mess it up too much. Oh, I'm going backwards. Okay, so we've been studying, we've been helping people, and we'd have people come to the office, and sometimes they would get results, and sometimes they wouldn't. So it's like, our next question is like, well, why are these people getting changes that we're after and other people aren't? So for us, as the doctors and clinicians here, we started to ask deeper questions. The questions were like, okay, we're getting the physiology right, but what controls the physiology? That's why I have this cheat sheet back here, the biology. Well, what tells the biology what to do? The biochemistry. What controls the chemistry or the biochemistry? We have chemistry. And then the physics is the base that everything else sits on top of. So it's like, if we're going and we're looking at different perspectives, like, well, we want to look and address, hey, what's the issue from the physiology perspective? What's going on in the biology or the biochemistry? So oftentimes that's a lot of nutritional stuff, meds, that's involving and influencing the biochemistry. Then we have the chemistry, so we're getting into some more electrons, so that's where we start to get too nerdy. And then the physics. So the physics is what controls everything. So it's like, if we want to start to affect the physiology, which is what we're experiencing in our health concerns, we want to make sure the physics are right. Does that kind of make sense? Where it's like, that's a big overall science picture that we're coming from, rather than being like, hey, you have this symptom, let's try this one thing. Does that make sense? So it's like, we start to ask deeper questions to figure out how it all fits together. Okay? So the main thing we're looking at is this concept in physics called energy debt. Physics all about, hey, are we making more energy than we're spending? Okay? That's kind of a big deal. Like, hey, are you paying more bills than you're bringing in with your income? Like, that's where we started, like, if we're paying more bills, what do we have to do? We're going to figure out, hey, what bills can we avoid paying this month so we can keep the electricity on? It's like, well, we can't go out to the movies as much here if we have to pay these bills over here. So in some ways, that's kind of what your body's doing, is playing triage. So it's like, well, what are the first things that your body doesn't necessarily need to survive? Typically, we look at hormones. It's like, yeah, reproductive, like, that's not for our survival, that's for continuing the next generation. So like, oftentimes, that's one of the things that the body does to steal from Peter to pay Paul over here. Why? Because we need our heart to work. It's like, we need our liver to work, our kidneys to function, we need our brain to keep going. So it's like, that's big picture, kind of what this energy debt is. Okay, and oftentimes you start to look at, hey, what is the energy we're talking about in the cells? We go back to some high school biology. It's a term called ATP. Okay, and there's 3 ways your body makes ATP. The first one is glycolysis. Okay, that's a big high school biology term. We're not going to go into it too much, but we're just going to talk about it briefly. So that one makes 2 ATP per cycle. Okay, the next one is the Krebs cycle. That one also makes 2 ATP. The third one over here is the electron transport chain. Now that one is in the mitochondria. You remember, that's the powerhouse of the cell. Sure, if you look back far enough, like, I'll remember some of those terms. So that one makes around 32 to 34 ATP, which is significantly more than the other 2. Okay? Now what can happen is our body, if this stops working, we're forced to play out of these other 2 games. So it's like, instead of 32 ATP per cycle, we're looking at 2 to 4 ATP. Like, that's a big shift and a big deficit there. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
So it's like your body's like, oh no, this is a problem. We're running out of energy. What can we do to actually start to make more energy? So what it does, because we're stuck with these ones, this one's kind of taken off the board. So we can only make it through there. So what the body typically does, it's like, you know what, we're gonna make more cells. So it adds 10 cells to do the job that one mitochondria was doing previously. Okay, that way we're getting to this base energy level. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
That's what we call cardiomegaly. Like the first sign of a disease organ is it gets bigger or it gets enlarged. So it's like for the heart, it's called cardiomegaly. For the liver, do you know what we call a diseased liver? That's first term. Yep, hepatomegaly or fatty liver disease. It's like it's literally getting bigger. Like this is a physics problem that is starting to make sense of all these other things. Splenomegaly, hey, your spleen is in trouble, it gets bigger. So that's what's going on. Your body's literally building more cells and putting more cells to try and cover this energy debt. Okay? Now that goes on long enough and it becomes a different problem. Your body's like, this isn't actually getting us to a surplus. So what it starts to do next, it starts to actually say, hey, these cells are actually costing us more energy than they're making. So it starts to attack these cells. So depending on what the weakest tissue is, depends on what tissues are going to get attacked first. So the body's like, we need to get rid of these and figure out something else. It's no longer efficient. So if those cells are in the gut, we call that Crohn's disease. If it's in the joints of the hands, we call it rheumatoid arthritis. If it's in the thyroid, we call it Hashimoto's or Graves' disease. Okay, if it's in the brain, we typically refer to those as Alzheimer's. If it's in the nerves, we call it MS. So like these are all these big autoimmune terms that it's like if you follow the pathology and the physics, from the physics perspective, it's giving this idea of how it actually works full circle. Does that kind of make sense? Where it's like, that's where it's like the body just starts to attack itself because it's not working and we're still at this big energy debt. Okay? So I'll kind of give you some idea. That's the wrong direction here. So here's kind of this energy debt crisis. I use this image of it's like a cell phone battery. Okay? If our cells are healthy and charged right here, they can come in and they can fix anything. Like, hey, this cell has a problem. We go in, fix it, no big deal. And it's just like yourself, and if you have 100% battery, what functions on your phone can you use? All of them. You're not worried about it. It's like, oh no, I have to start closing apps. It's like, oh no, I'm driving. I need to, only use Google Maps so the battery's not there. Okay? So if we drop down from that 100% down to 80%, we're looking at the 60 to 80%. That's where the body's like, we can't go in, we don't have enough energy to fix everything, but we'll allow for some mutations. So it's like, that's how we get some mutations that come along there. Does that kind of make sense so far? Yeah. Now, if we drop below that 60% down to 40 to 60, we don't do any mutations. The body's like, hey, we're already stressed out. So what it does, it uses a term called apoptosis. That's where the body starts to actually attack its own cells. So it's like, that's where it's like, hey, these cells are too much, we just need to get rid of them there. Okay? Then if we drop below this 40%, that's when we call the big C. So we lose that cell death function, so the body's not even able to fight the cells anymore. Typically, that's what we call the big C, or the term cancer. Okay? Electrically, that's around negative 20 millivolts. Okay, like that's what the science has been measuring. If you're more negative than 20 millivolts, hey, you don't see cancer exist. If it's below that, we see cancer start to show up. Okay? And when I first heard this, it was an interesting statistic, and I was like, I want to dive into some research and find some more questions. So I started to be like, well, what does this electrical voltage actually have to do with cancer? So I started to study, it's like, well, what is the most electrical active organ in the body? So it's like, that's the heart. So I started asking, and it's like, how often do you hear people get heart cancer? I started asking all my medical doctor friends, it's like, hey, how many times do you see primary heart cancer as a first sign of cancer? And they're like, never. Like hardly ever. It's super rare, and if it does, it doesn't happen. But you look at what's the number one cause of death in America? Heart disease, heart-related issues. So it's like the reason why is if the heart ever gets so low in that energy, you're going to have a heart-related incident before you ever get cancer. Does that kind of make sense? And big picture, when we're looking at cancer, it's like the body is using cancer to try and stay alive a little bit longer. And we're like, oh, that's strange. Like it's a question that's out there. It's like, well, tell me what's worse, having liver cancer or liver failure? What's going to kill you faster? liver failure. Yeah, liver cancer, it's like, it's buying you time. Like that's another mechanism your body's literally trying to process to get that going. It's like, what's going to affect you more? You know, kidney disease or kidney failure or kidney cancer. Like that's where it's at. But it's like with the heart, because it's the electricity and the physics perspective, it's very rare, if ever, that the heart is actually going to get heart cancer. Oftentimes when people are like, well, we can get heart to metastasize, or cancer from other places to metastasize to the heart, but it's rare that it's ever starting in the heart. Does that kind of make sense there? So like big picture, that's why this electricity and this energy debt problem is a big deal. Okay? So when we're looking at this, there's all these different numbers, different values. Does that kind of paint the picture of like, hey, here's where we're at, and kind of this is the physics issue that we see that we're trying to work on here. Okay, this is the chart that we started looking at. It's like, well, what's causing our cells to lose energy, or causing our mitochondria to stop working? First thing we see is inflammation. Okay, we all know it's like, hey, inflammation, it's a big key term. But it's like we want to see what's the primary driver of the inflammation. Because what happens if your body's inflamed? It can't function. It can't produce energy. You know, I call it like when we have so much inflammation in the body, I call it inflammation-based thinking. Like literally, our brains stop working, and they're like, I don't know what's going on. You feel like people get brain fog. It's like, wow, like that could be contributed to massive amounts of inflammation that is turning this energy debt issue there. Does that kind of make sense? So here we have a couple of different things that it's like, these are other inflammatory drivers and triggers there. Okay. So that's kind of the overall picture and what we're working at there from the physics perspective. Does that kind of make sense there? Any questions we have for that yet? Okay, perfect. So when we start working with people, we're not just working with people from the physics perspective, but it's like, that's a goal. We want to start just like, hey, if we're in an energy debt or an energy deficit, we want to make it so we're actually at least energy neutral. But because we've been sick for so long, we actually want to get it to an energy surplus or abundance. Okay? So that's where we start to incorporate all these different technology and equipment. And then we look at the physics perspective. And then the physiology. So when we look at the thyroid specific stuff, we're jumping into that physiology tier. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the thyroid and why this is such a big deal. And it's like, really, we look at the big picture, and it's like, what are the solutions? You know, if you go out there and talk to your doctors, their only solution is to take it out.
Right.
Like everything going on before that, it's like, hey, we're going to give you some thyroid hormone to try and slow down how long we have to take it out. But at the end of the day, eventually your thyroid's going to stop working and you're going to have to take it out. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So going back to this picture, it's like we look at the thyroid. What's the goal of the thyroid? To get thyroid hormone to every cell of your body. When we're on the energy debt scale, what do we just do? We times the number of cells by 10. What's that going to do to your thyroid? It's going to first run out, and then it's going to try and pick up that pace, and then it's going to get exhausted, and all these other functions are going to go out. Does that kind of make sense? Like if that's the overall goal of the thyroid is to get hormone to every cell, by increasing the number of cells, we're going to have some thyroid issues there. Does that kind of make sense? Why so many people are struggling with it, and there's really no answers there. Okay? So that was the treatment options there. Symptom management. These are just some of like the overall things that we're experiencing. And it's like, I don't have to sit up until it's like, hey, if you're having thyroid issues, I'm experiencing a whole myriad of symptoms. Whether it's weight loss, weight gain, or can't lose weight, whether it's cold, hot, feeling one or the other, and it doesn't have a rhyme or reason. Whether it's depression, racing heart, nervousness, anxiety. There's so many different pieces that the thyroid plays into that it's like we're seeing all these huge pictures there. But you guys know that better than I do. Okay? You're living it. I'm just here to tell you. It's like I witnessed people experience it, and it's like my own family has gone through this, so it's like it's a big deal, and that's why it's on our hearts. Like, what can we do to actually start to solve this issue, rather than just push it down the street or like kick the can down the road? It's like we want to like come and figure it out. Does that make sense? So, overall thyroid physiology. Most of the time, we're talking about the thyroid. They talk about the organ. and this thyroid hormone, TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. I like to start at the brain. Why the brain? So it's like the brain, we're looking at this organ in the middle of the brain called the hypothalamus. What that does, that sends a messenger, another hormone messenger to the pituitary, which is this big master gland. So that regulates all the hormones. So you want to talk about stress hormones, reproductive hormones, digestive hormones, thyroid hormone, that's what the pituitary does, okay? So it goes from the hypothalamus down into the pituitary. Now if something's off with that, it's not going to be able to send the thyroid stimulating hormone, which is usually the big marker that we use, is your thyroid functioning or not. So it's like, if that's not working, do we have a thyroid issue or do we have a brain issue? It's a brain issue first. Okay, so then if that's working, then we can get down to the thyroid. Then the thyroid develops something called T4. Okay, so it's like there's two forms of thyroid hormone, T4 and T3. T4 is usable, T4 is not usable, T3 is usable. So the thyroid releases T4, the non-usable form in the cells, so it actually has to go down to the gut and the liver and gets transformed from T4 into T3. Okay, so it's like, can you see if the liver is a problem? It could look like we have a thyroid issue? Like if the liver can't actually convert the T4 down to T3, we're going to have bigger issues. So it's like, in that case, it's like when we're looking at the big picture, it's not actually a thyroid issue if it's coming from the liver. So it's like, that's part of the evaluation we get to go through, is like actually figuring out where the thyroid issue is at its cause. Does that kind of make sense, rather than just being like, oh, you have a thyroid problem, it's always in the thyroid. And then we have all these other things that can cause different issues and actually prevent it from working. So these are all the different areas that it can get disrupted beyond the thyroid itself. Okay? We got 5 different ones, and most of these other ones are driving inflammation there. Okay? Any questions with the basic thyroid physiology now that we're talking about it beyond just the thyroid? Okay. So, the next step is we want to kind of do a demonstration. Does anybody here not want to be a part of a live demo?
I know,
Okay.
don't pick me.
That's okay. We went through a lot. Our goal this next step is just to make it nice, light, and easy.
Yeah. Dr. Tomasetti, by the way, hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for being here. Let me ask this question then. So for those of you that would like an opportunity to participate, who's had a thyroid issue that's like more than 5 years old? Okay. Who's feeling like their energy level is 5 or less right now on a scale of 1 to 10? Like everybody's hand goes up, right? So keep your hand high though, I can't. Yeah, so 5 or less and you want an opportunity to participate. Okay, so 4 of you, 5 of you. Okay. Who's had it longer than 10 years? Okay, still a lot of you. Wow, okay. Let's go with Kelly. You're the winner. Give her a hand. So, we talked about energy debt. We meaning Dr. Jeff here, right? I'm going to show you what energy debt looks like. Okay? And kind of how we assess this. And we're going to show you a little bit what the physical exam kind of looks like. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going to show you part of the treatment that we do. Nothing's going to hurt, I promise you. Okay? And it's not invasive. And then we'll see how we did. And you'll see in front of your own eyes if we made a change or not. Raise your hand if that sounds like a good idea. Okay, cool. You ready to play, Kelly?
Sure.
This will be fun. So on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, 10 is like I've got all the energy I need and then some. And 0 is I want to crawl into bed right now and just go to sleep. Like, where are you at on that at the moment?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. Closer to 4 or closer to 5, I'm going to make you pick one.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
4.
4, okay, so
Go
she's
to sleep.
4. That's her own words. Let's see what this looks like. Now, normally with thyroid, when that's getting tired out and there's this energy debt, muscles can't contract very long. So we're going to see if that's part of her puzzle right now or not. It may or may not be at a 4 energy level. We'll find out.
Maybe 5, because
Maybe
now you got
5.
me.
I got a little, you got a little
I was on my
adrenaline.
nerves.
Right?
Adrenaline.
Yeah, it's a different hormone, but it might so let's see what we got. So I'm gonna do stand right here. Awesome. So bend your elbow, and we're gonna bring it out like this. I'm gonna push down. Any shoulder problems I should know about?
On this side, this side's fine.
Cool. I picked the right side. Okay. Hold the elbow up in the air for me and push up into my hand, and just keep that sustained contraction. You see how that fades? Okay, that'll happen on every muscle in our body if it's a thyroid problem. Bend this one here, do a curl. Yeah, look, you're doing a bicep. Yeah, there you go. Curl up, go ahead and curl. Yeah, and so you can see it contracting, but it doesn't hold.
Yeah.
Feel that fading away?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can check any muscle we want to. That means thyroid hormone is not getting where?
To the muscle.
The muscle.
Right, to, like every cell in the body, it's got to rob Peter to pay Paul. This is what's going on. So it's affecting her physical ability to move and do things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so now usually with thyroid, there's some specific muscles that are inhibited or turned off neurologically. Do you ever walk around, who's a people watcher? Yeah? Do you ever see somebody walk around, their hands are backwards like this? Right? Like a lot of big truck driver guys doing this kind of thing. I did say that my dad was a truck driver, so I'm okay. But that turning backwards means the teres minor is inhibited or shut down. That muscle does this. If it doesn't work, what's it going to do? You with me? Does that make sense? So bend the elbow. We're going to check it and see if it works for her or not. Let this go right by your ribs. Awesome, Kelly. But we're going to bring the wrist out. Hold it right there. I'm going to push toward your middle. Don't let me do that. Now, we know a minute ago that she had some strength, right? Like that was okay, but then it faded. Now, what's going on with this one? What's different with this one? There's like nothing there. You noticing that? She's trying. You know what I love about this? She's determined. She's like, I'm going to win.
That's a good shoulder.
I know. We're going gentle on this one. Push out in my hand here. Yeah. Same thing there. So if it's a shoulder problem, it's only on one side, right? If it's a global issue, it can be on both sides. Now, it might be she has two shoulder problems, but with the history, right, we know that there's a thyroid going on too. Is that fair? So we see inhibition in the muscles that relate to the gland. We see fatigue in the muscle pretty quickly, 2-3 seconds. That's my, just ballparking it. And often there's tenderness in just below the collarbone here. I don't want to push too hard, but yeah, put a number on that for me.
Higher, like 10
I'm sorry,
is high.
yeah, 10 would be bad pain, 0 is no
Gosh,
pain.
that pretty hurts. That 8.
8.
That hurts.
So, and I'm pushing like that. Like, I'm not pushing hard, right?
Holy moly.
Yeah, what's that feel like?
Oh, that doesn't hurt at all. I
0.
mean, that's like, yeah.
And that's an 8.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, that's classic for thyroid problems.
That's not fun.
No.
You can all poke yourself.
It's like,
I was just saying.
now when you do it yourself, it's like when you tickle yourself, it doesn't quite translate the same, so it may not be as tender as when somebody else does it. It's one of those things. Yeah, Kelly will come around and do that for you guys here in a minute. And so you feel similar on that side?
Yeah.
Okay. So we just have some things to monitor, right? Also, we're going to take shoulder range of motion because the thyroid relates to shoulder. Let me show you that in a second. So let this relax completely. Let it go loose here. And that one moves fine. We'll see about the left one here. Let it go loose.
This one doesn't go.
Not quite as good, but it's not bad. We're probably not going to see a lot of change in the shoulder with that for the motion. And then we'll use a strong arm here.
Okay.
And then I want you to push up in my hand gently. Yeah, because I don't want to fatigue it, but hold that up. Okay, that's good. We're using her shoulder, the entire shoulder girdle now. And then there are reflexes on the body. Like when you tap a knee, kicks, right? You don't think about it, it just happens. There are reflexes for every organ on your body on the skin. Okay, and we won't go into how that develops, but from embryologically, that's how that gets there. The one for thyroid is right at the neck here. So if there's a weakness or a challenge, there's more stress on that gland that it can deal with. It's going to fatigue in the nervous system. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. So in other words, if that goes weak when she touches here, that's a problem. Okay, so we'll have you touch right here with your other hand if you don't mind. Yeah, that'll work better. Then I can test that one. Bring that one forward a little bit more. Yeah, right, that'll work. Hold that up strong. Yeah, that's great. You don't need to push hard, just kind of touch it and hold that up strong. Okay, and that one weakens. Now, what did dogs say? Where does this usually start? At the thyroid or somewhere else?
The brain.
Brain, love it. Let's check the brain. So the brain point, right? Do you remember the one above thyroid? This is test time, guys. Okay? Pituitary, does that sound right?
Yeah.
So the point for pituitary is on the bridge of the nose. With your left hand, gently, yeah, let's
You want
kind of
to
like,
take the glasses
no,
off?
you're fine there. Just kind of do like one of those. Perfect. So what we're looking for is pituitary challenged. Hold that up strong. Yeah, and we see she fatigues on that one too. Take that away. Push up. Just making sure I'm not making that up. Yeah, so that's different, right? Okay.
Freaky.
So there's other reflex we see. Yeah, it's freaky. As long as you follow by science, we're okay. Freaky science,
Freaky
freaky
science.
science. Yeah, right?
Freaky science.
Has anybody seen something like this before? You have. Awesome. One person. I'm glad everybody else gets to experience this. This is life changing. The other one is the adrenals, right? She said, "Oh, I'm feeling a little more energy," right? That's that adrenaline kick, right? So let's use a horseshoe kind of with this hand, and that's going to be right in here. So kind of touch the, yeah, like that. We'll go a little wider. Awesome, Kelly, just like that's great. Hold that up strong, push up in my hand. You don't need to shove that in, just kind of touch, yeah, there you go. Perfect, that's great. Hold that strong for me here. Hold it up, hold it up. Yeah, and so her adrenals are saying, oh man, adrenals are amazing. They are like the worker that does anything you tell them to do. There's like, I'm on it, boss, I got it, until they can't do anymore, and then everything implodes. That's kind of what the adrenals do. But the adrenals relate to this whole thing. So we're seeing brain, thyroid, adrenals. We mentioned, where does it convert? Remember that T4 hormone? Liver, guts, right? So we can check a million things, but just for simplicity, we're going to check liver. Hand on the liver there. Just flat hand. You don't need to, yeah, there you go. You're trying too hard, Kelly. You're doing awesome. Hold that up strong.
Overachiever.
Yeah, hold that up here. Hold that up. Push. Straight up on my, yeah, there you go. Lift this up. That's all. There we go. Yeah. And then, so her liver says, man, I got all these different relays and reflexes are not where we want them to be yet. Is that fair? I don't know, like, no, we didn't do labs. We usually do all that in our assessment, but just for physical exam, we see liver's challenged. We got thyroid. Like, none of these guys are keeping up, or gals are keeping up, okay? So what we're going to do now is, am I missing anything?
No.
That's like the big stuff. We're going to start working on Kelly here. And we're going to trade. Doc's going to be doing the work. I'm going to explain what we're doing and why, and show you guys in real time what happens. Cool?
Cool.
All right, who's ready to play?
Yeah, because it's like a couple of, like, we'll have you sit down.
Mhm.
So the goal is going to be leveraging technology.
Yeah.
So we
It's what?
start
I'm sorry.
leveraging technology. Because excuse me.
Work so hard.
Yeah, right now my brain's running 1,000,000 miles an hour.
It's all right.
So typically how we get energy is we get energy from food, right? Like that's why everyone's like trying to change your diet, trying to change your nutrition. So like if your gut's healthy, only 30% usable energy from food can go into making ATP.
Wow.
If your gut's not healthy, you're talking 20%, 10%, 0%, or it actually costs you energy when you eat food. You might know someone who's like, yeah, every time, whatever, doesn't matter what I eat, if it's healthy or not healthy, I feel like I need to go take a nap. Right? So it's like, that's telling us like, your gut is not healthy, but it's like, we're not getting any energy from the food. So that's why we started to explore these different technologies, be like, how can we bypass that? So we can start to actually pump energy in the cells to get it to heal. Okay? And it's like, we do that here in the office, but we also do it at home. So it's like, because it's like, our job is to partner with you. We can't do it for you. I wish we could. That would make our life so much easier, but it's like, this is a partnership where it's like, hey, you have assignments to do at home. We're also going to do it here. And this way, it's like, that way it's not just depending on, hey, I only see you guys 1 to 2 times a week. It's like, no, we're actually treating it every single day. Does that kind of make sense? So when we talk about food and have food recommendations, I care more about what you don't eat than what you do eat. Because if you're eating stuff that causes inflammation, that's going to put pause on all of the healing processes. So it's like, we started looking to explore technologies that are going to be easy that you can do at home, but also is going to get changes and results on that physics perspective there. Okay? Does that kind of make sense where we're coming from here? So it's like, today we're just going to be leveraging our light therapies.
Okay.
So it's like, we have all different types of the fields of physics. So it's like, there's 4 main ones we're working with. But it's like, today, for the demonstration purpose, we're just going to be doing vibration therapy to help move the lymph and get some circulation going to the lymph system, and then just the light therapy. Okay?
Umber up.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
So,
One thing to know with lymphatics, the thyroid hormone distributes into the lymph first, and then that goes to, that's how it gets into the system. So if the lymph is backed up, you're stuck. That's another blocking point. Makes
Is that
sense?
comfortable there? Okay.
Cute socks.
All right. So, one of the things you will be using is laser therapy, and you can read all this stuff, but basically, if you have autoimmune, it drops that down. Again, the reason is it's adding energy where the body needs it, and then you don't need to start attacking your own cells anymore. Is that making sense why we're using this stuff?
It's like
Now-
feeding it, and you're not attacking.
Exactly. We know that through, goodness, 40 plus years of research. Laser increases ATP production, right? And that's we need energy in the cells. Light is converted into chemical energy. That's what we're doing with laser. Bottom line. The T3-4 ratio improves, it regenerates the tissue. It does all this stuff because the body now has more energy to work with. Is that fair?
Fair.
Okay. Vibration we mentioned, lymphatics, and then stress is another big one. Who's got some stress in their world? Right? Like, who doesn't? And so,
Right there on the thyroid.
you ever push a mower,
Yeah.
right? What happens here is like, you do that too long, you're like, man, I'm done. Or you're riding either one, that's like bad vibration, and you're like, I'm over it.
Yeah.
But you sit in the massage chair at the salon, right? And you're like, all day long, I will be, right? It's the right vibration,
Right.
makes all the difference. So that's what we're doing here to move the lymphatics around and actually improve nerve system function. Okay? So reducing stress, enhancing lymphatics, and giggling.
Very attractive. It's very nice.
Yeah. Honestly, giggling is so important. That's really healing for the nervous system. So find any way you can to laugh and
Oh,
giggle.
it's just getting better and better.
Yeah. All right. What you're seeing over here to the side is our foot bath station, and that detoxes the body, but it also powers you up. It's almost more about what's going into the body than what's coming out. But it does help with hydrogen, which you need for energy production. It helps with to alkalize your body. How many of you have heard that we're too acidic, typically? And if the body is too acidic, you drop voltage. Okay? So this helps to stop that voltage drop and actually get you more in the system. Does that make sense? It does detox, and every session lasts for 48 to 72 hours, which is pretty cool. So that's not one we do every day. Okay? For that reason. And you will see color change in the water after a couple minutes. Sometimes it gets dirtier than that. That will happen regardless of whether feet are in or not. Okay?
Okay, so it's not a sign of what's coming out
No.
of her or whatever.
And whoever is telling you that is selling you something. I'll just tell you that right now. Yeah, like, and you'll see stuff on the internet about that all day long. There's no way to prove that green comes from your gallbladder, and like, I don't know where that comes from. I will say this: I've been doing this for 20 years. The ring around the tub, that's from people. Okay, the scum, like the greasy stuff, that's from people. You don't see that. So there is something happening in there, but I can't say the color changes directly from the person. Is that fair? So yeah, I don't put stock in what's coming out. It's more about the physics of what's going in. That's what I'm more concerned with. All right, and then you see Kelly here in the chair, this bed. Some of you may have heard of Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he sleeps on these before he does his events. He's got them in his homes. It powers the cells. Remember the battery chart? It literally adds energy, electromagnetic energy, into the body and pumps up the energy in the cells. Okay? So that's good. Restores damaged cells, gets lymphatics moving, it does all the things we want it to do, and that's a key player. And then hydration is big. Making sure you're getting enough water and the right kind of water, and that could be a whole other workshop. But I would say this simply: have your body weight in ounces every day. Work on that. Good, healthy, clean spring water is generally best. Try to avoid plastic bottles because plastics. And then good healthy nutritious food. Very simple of food. If God made it, it's pretty decent. If it has more ingredients than that, then you start running into trouble. Okay? So I mean, we all know this, it's basic, but that's really important. And I will say one thing about food specifically. If you have thyroid challenges, all the research says gluten makes it worse. Okay, so gluten-free doesn't mean eat gluten-free products, it just means get that out of the diet, okay? Because gluten-free products are sometimes more poisonous than the gluten.
Agree.
Okay, questions on that? Okay, there are other technologies we use, but that's like, in a brief nutshell,
The main ones.
the main ones. And then depending on your certain scenario, we've got a lot of other toys, okay? Yeah.
He calls them toys, I call them equipment and technology.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
We're not playing with them, we're healing with them.
But it feels like play because we can see all kinds of fun stuff happen. But he's right, yeah, they are definitely important technology.
You guys have saunas here as well?
Not here, but it's a useful tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Can you set that there?
I will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Put this one here. Set that there. Set that one here. Power that all off.
How you feel?
I'm healed.
Right?
Right?
Yeah? Come on up. All right. What do you notice?
I don't know, it feels good.
Okay. Does your energy feel different than before?
Sure.
Okay. What might that be like? Take a look.
I don't know. I don't know. I do feel different. It feels good. I don't know how to explain it.
That's okay. So something is different and it's better.
I don't know. It's gonna sound like maybe a weird
No.
one, or maybe not the right. I feel kind of heavy. Like
Okay.
I don't know. It's a weird. Like
Heavy in a
good way.
In a
I
good
guess a
way.
good way.
Like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying to-
usually a good thing.
Like
You know,
connected,
I gotta check my
connected,
lately,
Like
grounded.
maybe strong. Like,
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
Really strong.
Like connected, grounded,
I don't know what it is. It's a weird.
stable. Does it feel stable?
Alright, so you're feeling like you're inner Hulk.
Yeah, or something.
You're all
Cool.
okay.
It's a weird. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know. I
Before
guess
your
it wasn't,
energy-
maybe someone else should have done it because I've
No,
done
No,
it.
no, you're
That's
the
okay.
perfect demonstration here.
Yeah.
So before you said you were like 4 to 5.
Yeah,
How do we feel here?
maybe at like a 7 or an 8 or I don't
Oh,
know.
really?
Like I feel different. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel lethargic like I did.
Okay.
So
That's good.
Cool.
like I
It's
feel
only a couple minutes too.
Yeah.
Yeah, less than
I
5.
feel built up. Maybe that's the better answer.
Uh-huh.
Built up.
Okay. Built up.
Like
Supercharged. Kind of.
Yeah.
And energy went at least double. Right.
At
7 or
least
8.
a little something. I don't know.
Yeah.
75% for that's a good change.
You like
When's the
that?
last time you got a boost that was not caffeinated that made you feel that way?
Well, caffeine
Or
takes
drug
like 5
related.
hours to work on me. So
Oh, okay. So
which is
faster
dumb.
than caffeine. Let's check some
Yeah. Okay. What are we gonna do?
pain.
Okay.
Ready?
Oh yeah, that'll
Yeah.
be fun. Oh, that's not near as bad. I mean, I still feel it, but that's not
Yeah.
near an 8. That's like a 5.
5 now.
Oh, that's good.
That's cool.
What about that one?
No, that's still like a 6 or 7.
Okay.
That
So
was,
still there, but okay.
probably bruised me from earlier. I'm
Right,
kidding.
exactly. Yeah, probably bruised me. Let's check your system. Elbow straight from me here. Hold that one straight. Good, Kelly. Now, remember the bridge of the nose?
Oh yeah.
Hold that up strong here. So that's
Ooh.
different,
Yeah, that is different.
right? Let's go to the neck here. I'm pushing twice as hard, by the way. Hold that up strong here. Yeah, like now I'm fighting her. Uh-huh.
You are
Wow, that's
I mean,
supercharged.
not like, but right.
Yeah, I can
the
definitely
difference.
feel a difference in that
Did you
one.
go to the belly, that one there? Spread them a little wider. That's right. Pull that up. Yeah. Okay. And then we had her fading in like 3-4 seconds. Was it about that? You can take that away. Bend the elbow.
Oh, what are we doing?
Yeah, this one here. Remember going straight up in my hand.
Okay.
Pull that up.
Am I pushing the left?
Nope.
Wait, we didn't push
Push
my
it.
liver.
Oh yeah, see, thank you. Liver.
Look, I got smarter too.
You did. You got that one here. Elbow
It's a common side effect.
It is a common side effect.
Yeah.
The brain fog's
Right.
lifting, right?
Yeah.
Push up from there, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. There's a little mush on that one is better.
Oh, come on, there wasn't any mush.
No mush. All right, forgive me.
Just kidding.
Let's try the elbow again. Yeah, bend that one. Hold that up strong for me here. Pushing up. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah. So like it's not fading.
Yeah.
Do the curl again. We're looking for the fade. Curl. Yeah, her inner hole is definitely rising. Right. So she's getting more.
Okay, now I'm tired.
And then shoulder was pretty well fine. Oh yeah, the teres minor, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's try that one again. Bend the elbow here. Bring the wrist back toward me. Let me have the arm. Drop it easy. There you go. There it is. I'm gonna push to your middle. Don't let me push into the middle.
What do I?
Keep that out in my hand.
Oh, this way.
Yep. Yeah, that's like. And that was the bad shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try range of motion. I'm curious. Let that relax completely.
Wow. Ooh.
Does that feel different?
Yeah, that felt good.
Her range is definitely better. She got that last little bit of motion out of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Bend the elbow for me here. Bring that wrist out. There you go. Bring elbow by your side though. Yeah, see that's solid now too. Nice. So, has anybody seen changes like that before?
That quick.
So she experienced energy boost. We're seeing physiological changes right here. Like, this is why we win. Can you see why if you do this daily, why things start getting better and like all kinds of things get better? And we only did some light. We didn't do all the other tech. We didn't change your diet yet. We didn't do any of that stuff, did we?
No.
But how long do you have to do it? Like, once you start?
Good question.
Like,
So here's the thing. We think in terms of cell cycles, in terms of like how long does it take for a cell, a group of cells or tissue to regenerate and turn over. Your gut lining is every 2 or 3 days you get brand new gut cells. Your thyroid's at least 90 days. Okay? To get all new cells in the thyroid. Your brain nervous system much longer than that. Okay? So depending on the tissue and organ that we need to support, that helps us dictate timelines for treatment. Is that fair? So typically thyroid plans are starting at 90 days for that reason. Depends on how many times we need those cells to turn over to really stop the body from making crappy cells and making good healthy cells again. Is that?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So good question.
Because our goal is to get your body actually functioning
Yeah.
on its own. I don't want you to come see us for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
it's
no.
like our goal is like let's get your cells healthy. How many cell cycles will it take? And usually we're like at 90 days per cell cycle. So it's like that's where it's like are we gonna need 1, 2, 3 cell cycles to actually get it so your body is not just energy neutral or like the energy debt neutral. We want it to be abundant so that way it'll continue up to that 80 to 100% range.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because it's like oftentimes we have people that are like, oh yeah, my friend they had this thyroid or Hashimoto's or autoimmune, and they changed their diet, and their issues went away.
Yeah, has anybody heard that before? Like, oh, I changed my diet,
Yeah.
everything's better. You've heard that before?
No, I experienced
You've
it.
experienced it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Well, it's a problem. After I went back to eating meats and I got older, I got the thyroid problem again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if we go back to that energy debt, if we were in that 60 to 80%, you can change your diet and it'll fix it. If you're down in that 40 to 60%, it needs more energy than just changing the diet will allow. Does that kind of make sense? Especially when we're talking about, hey, the gut, if it's not healthy or versus it is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like big picture, that's what we're working on to try and get your body functioning and healing the way it's supposed to. Long term, not so you're relying on someone else. And it's like,
Yeah.
we send technology that you're going to have the rest of your life to continue to allow the healing to happen there. Does that kind of make sense?
And then yeah, you can go wreck it again. You know, if you want to go and like trash your gut diet and eat a bunch of poison, then sure you can drain energy, right? You can do all kinds of things to make a wreck of your life, but usually you get your energy level up and you do some basic things to keep it there, and you have the technology to support it, you can win for the long run. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you see why we're getting changes nobody else is getting?
Can we give Kelly a round
Yeah.
of applause? Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah. Okay. next here, I bring up my amazing wife, Emily. Just to have her explain it so I'm not mansplaining to you, what you're feeling and this kind of thing. She's actually lived some of this and explained kind of the story, what's going on.
So even this picture right here, that was probably 25 pounds ago. That was last January, I think. So a little bit of my backstory. My dad was diagnosed with Hashimoto's when he was in his early 20s, which is really unusual for men. But for my family, that thyroid autoimmune has been a part of my story for my whole life, right? And then when Adam and I started dating, he was not the doctor that he is today. We are an undergrad. And anyway, he became a doctor, and we have always kept close tabs on my thyroid because of my family history of autoimmune, right? Thankfully, I have never developed into autoimmune because we know how to monitor all of my symptoms without having them progress to the autoimmune level, right? So I know when, I remember we have 6 kiddos, 5 biological, 1 adopted. I was probably 18 months out from having our youngest, biological, and I was on a run, and I just had this huge energy crash, and I went home, and I was like, something is really wrong. We went through all the tests, and we were able to correct it without having to do, my dad, his protocol is Synthroid, right? They didn't take his thyroid out, he just is on chronic Synthroid, but he's had so many challenges with it. And I just want to share with you that it is possible to have all of the family history and not have to go the standard disease model route, right? Yeah, so I just wanted to offer that encouragement. I've been working and taking good care of myself, and so that's how I've lost weight. And also, the brain fog, done. We homeschool, and me, I homeschool. Oh, we have 2 kids in college, 3 high schoolers that we homeschool, and then our youngest has Down syndrome. That's the one that we adopted, and she goes to school because a couple years ago he's like, either you can homeschool the high schoolers or you can homeschool our littlest because she's really busy, and the best choice was for her to go to school. Yeah, so that's a bit of my story. I'd love to answer any questions if you guys have questions from the practical side, not the doctor side, but the practical everyday.
What diet changes did you make?
Gluten and dairy.
Gluten and dairy?
Yeah.
You permanently removed it, or you limited it?
So gluten is just because of my family history. My family also has celiac, which is also an autoimmune.
Yeah.
My sister has celiac, my grandma had celiac, my cousin has celiac, one of our daughters was diagnosed with celiac. So yeah.
It's easy to remove that then.
Yeah, but I will say, just as a side, unrelated, our daughter that has celiac, who can't have gluten in the United States, went to Europe in a college class last summer. She ate gluten every day. She had a croissant. We're like, what was your favorite thing? She's like, well, I had a croissant every morning. And we're like, Erin, you're in Italy. You shouldn't have croissants. That's a France thing. And she's like, but Mama, I can eat it and not be sick. Which...
That just means we all need to move to Italy.
That was my take.
I know. I mean, yeah, she would really like that. But
part of that is that energy debt, the Roundup and all the poison they put on it. In the States here, it's genetically modified, all those things. It doesn't work in your system the same way.
Right.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, so the gluten and the dairy. I feel like gluten is a bigger indicator. If I have some gluten, I can feel it in my body differently than if I have dairy.
Okay.
But that's my personal experience. Any other questions? Yes? I can see it.
Yeah. So it's regarding, because I was married before, and it's personal, but it's fine.
Okay.
And I was trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
And the doctor said it's because of my thyroid that I've been having so much complications.
You need your thyroid to get through.
Okay.
Because you remember what Dr. Jeff said about hormones? Hormones are not necessary for survival. Your heart, your lungs, your liver, your kidneys. And so when your body is running at an energy deficit, the hormones are kind of the first ones that your body's like, oh, we don't need to get those. We don't need to keep those in line, right? We need to keep you alive, you're not reproducing. So that's where that thyroid works with, like if your hormones aren't working properly, your thyroid's not functioning properly, that's how that cascades. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
And I'm really sorry. Right.
Slightly funnier now.
I don't know what he's gonna say.
I was gonna say no.
Disclaimer.
A patient a number of years ago came in. We were helping her with her thyroid and hormones and things like this.
Oh my
and
gosh,
She
yes,
came
sorry.
in. The reception area, we were full of people, and she's like, "Dr. Tomasetti, you got me pregnant." And I'm like, I promise I didn't do that.
Well, what's so funny
But-
is like that has happened more than
Yeah,
once.
this is.
I've had friends say that. Like we had some friends that my friend became a patient. She's like, "Your husband got me pregnant." I'm like, "No, he didn't.
So awkward.
No, he didn't."
Very close.
Yeah, very
So
close.
awkward.
Yeah.
So awkward. All right.
So, yeah.
If there's no other questions, then unless there is, are there other questions for me? As somebody who like lives, yeah, of course.
Have you tried any certain supplements to help support your thyroid?
Yes, I have. In different seasons, I've needed to use different things. Right now, I'm doing a thyroid supplement that the thyroid 2. I take that one twice a day.
We have a lot of options for that. Depends on what the body's needing in the moment.
Right.
And how it correlates to all those other.
Right. So it's very specific.
Systems,
It's
yeah.
hard to say, like, yeah, I've had friends say, well, what are you taking? I'm like, well, I can't really tell you what I'm taking because my body and my stress and my history and all of those things are going to dictate what's best. It's a very, I hate to say it, but it's a very couture model. It's looking at, looking at your lifestyle, your blood work, your energy diet, and then bringing it together so that each person has a custom plan that's going to get you to optimal, not just like whatever, well range. We want optimal range. We want you to be your full expression of who you were like designed to be, right? So,
But in addition to supplements and changing your diet, are there any type of holistic medications that you took? Not medications, that's
Like
I
supplements,
guess
you mean?
supplements.
yeah,
Not
and that would
supplements,
be
like herbs and stuff.
yeah. So yeah, all of the supplements and stuff that just depends. Like it depends on. I mean, I'm not a doctor. By trade, I'm a.
But you have one, so that's a
I
Right,
do,
right,
I
it's
do,
helpful.
for 25 years almost.
So briefly though, yeah, there's a whole depending on where the energy debt is, we can use different nutrients to support it. But again, that's physiologic thinking. That's not physics thinking.
Right, we're trying to use
Does
that
that make sense?
foundation so you gotta get the energy
Yeah.
in, then your body will be able to
You
actually.
don't need as
absorb
many
all of it.
supplements.
That makes
Who's
sense.
like tired of taking a million supplements? Everybody, right? When you
That
do the
makes
physics right, you don't need as much of that stuff. You might need some support over time, but it's not like you're taking 50 supplements home, right? That's not the
Just
goal.
based on the cycle, so you won't have to live off of the supplements. It's just
Right,
a
and then
different
I guess
entry
I think it
of-
would make sense like the 90 days. Like
Yeah.
if you're trying to get that cell turnover
Yeah.
to get to healthy cells, right?
Mhm.
So I would imagine this is my brain as an audience member, but
Right.
you can tell me if this is correct. You would maybe need more supplements or nutritional support on the front end to support all of the physics.
Yeah, that's common. Like we need
Okay.
to, if there's been a deficit, right? We need to like
Pump you up.
pump you up, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to like inject cash in the system, and get it.
Stimulate the economy.
Our goal here is to get your body healed in a way that you're not gonna need 50 supplements on you at all times, okay?
That makes
It's the
sense.
same thing, kind of, you go to the doctor, like regular Western medicine, that's my background. You go to the doctor, they tell you what's wrong, they give you medicine, and you're supposed to feel better, and you're supposed to, right? Like, that's what we all have learned. Well, now you need to kind of retrain your thinking that, you know what, like, I want to go somewhere that's going to give me the therapies and that my body can actually heal and work the way it's supposed to work without needing those medicines and even supplements along with that.
Right.
Throughout your healing journey, you might need certain supplements at different times,
Right.
but our goal is to not have you on that for the rest of your life. Our goal is to have you actually healed, and your body working the way that it was originally made to work. So your body is doing the work, not anything else that we're adding to it.
Got it.
So even if your body is healed, like Jeff said, the nutrition that you're putting in, you're actually getting the nutrients from the food that you're putting in because your body is able to accept it. So that's why people will say sometimes, you know, again, like her, like, what are you taking, right? I try to explain to some of my patients, you know, broccoli might be really good for me, but for you, it's going to make you feel really sick.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the same thing when it comes to a supplement. You know, a supplement might be what my body needs at the moment, but if you take it, it might do the complete opposite.
Right.
So that's part of what we do here when you come in for some of your doctor's visits. They will see what your body needs at that particular part of your journey to see what is going on at that moment and what you need.
And what's that based on? Blood work? Do you do GI
Combination.
mapping?
It's a combination of blood work, muscle testing.
Yeah, so I mean, most people get TSH done, right? That's
Yeah.
about all they run. They might run T3, T4 if you're lucky.
If you ask for it.
If you ask for it, right? Yeah. So we do, again, because liver's involved and gut, so we look at the entire system to see where's the leaky holes in the bucket. Right, what's robbing your energy and depleting that? So we do a whole panel. We look for antibodies. Do you have an autoimmune condition? Because 80+% of them are in autoimmune state already and they're undiagnosed. So we got to know about that. So basically, a mixture of either blood or urine will let us know what's going on in the body, where there are the holes in your energy bucket. So we look at that information. We look at our physical exam, your history, put all that together. And actually, that's kind of a good segue into.
I'll go through a little bit more of that.
I'm good.
You're good.
Oh, you have a question back
Yeah.
Is there any natural way of reducing the size of nodules or getting rid of them altogether?
Nodules, yes. If your thyroid is devolved to the point where you have a goiter.
And I do have goiter and a nodule.
Okay, goiter is actually changed cellular structure. That's usually, that's hard. I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's typically unlikely. Stopping the progression, yes. Reversing the cellular change that's happened, you know, I'm not gonna make any promises, right? Nodules, though, those are typically autoimmune related, and those, again, we get the system enough energy, they can disappear or become, you know, benign or, you know, whatever. Does that make sense? Again, even if that
They could be
stays.
benign, but they could still increase in size, right? Because mine, like I just had my biopsy done like a week ago.
Yeah.
For the first time in like 7-8 years.
Mhm.
And the size of the nodule increased over time, over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But it came out benign, but it's still increasing in size.
So again, what was cellular increasing? Remember that stage? Right? The body needs more cells to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's the stage that at least you're at that stage. If it's getting bigger, you're trying to make more cells to make more energy to get hormones everywhere. So again, think of that concept that we need to back that back up when you pump enough energy into the system, and now you have resources to be able to deal with that. Does it get different? Maybe not. But the bottom line is if your system is running right, then nodules are nodules. You know what I mean? But again, the process through which it gets there is our bigger concern. What the body does with it when it has enough energy is the other question mark. Sometimes it goes completely away. I've seen that. Yeah. Good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah. All right. Good. Leslie?
All right, so we're just gonna take a few more minutes. We'll kind of wrap this up. One of the things I will say, and to the ladies here, how many over dealing with all of this have been told like you're crazy, you know, with your symptoms, right? Okay. Just want to let you know you're not alone. All right. With everything that we have going on in our bodies, especially the age range that it looks like all of us are at as women, our bodies are going crazy. All right. Our hormones are all over the place. How many times? You know, I used to use the excuse all the time when I went a little erratic. My hormones are just crazy. But then I realized, like I said, my background, I come from the hospital. I come from learning that I just take medicine and I'm supposed to feel better. Now being in this side of things and learning that there are things out here that can actually heal what's going on within me. I kind of say all the time, like I saw this, you know, I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, okay, I could actually start to heal and feel better. So I love working with this group because I feel like I can kind of go through it with you because I feel where you're at. So again, if you have any questions about anything, please ask. I'm just gonna kind of go through, how do I know if I qualify? All right, we do not accept every patient here just for a few reasons. Some patients, if we don't feel that you're right and what you have going on is something that we can actually help you with, we're not gonna take you as a patient, okay? That's just where we start. How long does it typically take? They talked a little bit about the 90-day cell. So everybody's plan is a little bit different. It could be anywhere from 3 months to a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so until we gather all the information for everybody in particular, we wouldn't be able to give you an exact. Okay, some people also see healing quicker than others, so everybody's different in that. So that's kind of the again, with finding out if you qualify, the things that we go through, the way it works here, we do 2 appointments. You come in for a personal consultation. We do some back office testing. We do a consult with the doctor, gather as much information as we possibly can, okay? Once we get all that information, you have your exam, we have our consult, we then sit together as a team and come up with an actual care plan for you. Care plan involves all the in-office therapies, at-home therapies, nutrition. One of the biggest things that I tell people that come on as our patients, you need to have 100% commitment to give to us just like we give to you. And that includes not only coming in the office for your therapies, but doing the things at home therapies that you need as well. We can tell if somebody is not doing on the outside what they're supposed to be doing. Even nutrition wise, we can tell if your nutrition is off when you come in. Right away we'll be able to tell. So I always tell people, you know, you can try to hide all you want, but we're gonna figure it out at some point or another, all right? So this is these are some comprehensive tests that we do in the office. It's nothing invasive. We obviously do vital signs and things like that. This is where we would decide what labs you need as well, okay? This is kind of gonna go through the value of everything that we do on the first 2 appointments that you have, okay? Just kind of gives you all the things that we do, the diagnostics that we do, and then report day is the second appointment that you would come back, and we would go through all of the findings that we put together, all right? The value of this is about $900, okay? The value. We realize that this is not something, you know, you don't go to your doctor and where you're gonna get medicine and get better. This is gonna take some time. We decided that for people for consultations, we're gonna give you the value, but for your consultation, it's gonna be $200 for the 2 appointments. Okay, so that's what that is. If you decide to move forward, it would be the $200 for your first and second appointment. All right. Let's see, hold on a minute. Okay, does my insurance cover this? No. The only thing I could tell you that I've seen so far is there have been people that have put through the office visit part, because you have your office visit with the doctor during your in-office therapies, and then you have all your therapies. We do have the codes that we can give you, that you can call your insurance with that code. Some people have seen getting reimbursed for the actual office visit. All right, I can't promise it, but I do know that some people have had luck with it. We have a patient here that literally has gone after his insurance company for even some of his therapies. I mean, it's like worn them down, and he's told me that he has had luck in some of it, but we don't take care of any of that. We can of course give you codes to go after your insurance company with, and God bless, I hope, you know, you just need patience, but you never know. But I know the office visits. How much would it be to invest in my health? So this is a big question that we get all the time. It's a big range, okay? When we look at office visits, in-office therapies, which are normally once or twice a week, you have to invest time in office therapies. All of your at-home equipment that we give you for that, your lab tests, we put in there as well. An average care plan can start anywhere from about $6,000 and can go all the way up to about $25,000. okay? And it just depends on where you're at, what we're looking at, what kind of therapies you need, and really your picture, okay? I like to give that average because, you know, I just want to put it out there and make sure that all of you know before, you know, you come in and invest in time, that you know that it's a big financial investment too. I can tell you what I've told, the way that I see the best results in all of our patients. I always tell them the same thing. Please remember, not only are you investing your time, it is a big financial commitment. So if you're gonna make that big financial investment into your health, please do the work.
Yeah.
What's the point if you're not gonna do the work? What's the point? So again, that's where we are a team here. We all work together. So if you're here in the office having therapies, you will see all of us. We will be on top of you saying what's going on, what are you doing at home? Not that you're gonna get tested, but you know, we do make sure to really be on top of it and see what's going on. Throughout your care plan and throughout when you're here, you will have progress exams throughout as well to see where you're at in the healing journey. We redo some of our original testing, we'll rerun blood work to see what's changing. If things aren't changing the way that we think they should be changing, we kind of reevaluate the care plan. Do we need to change something? Do we need to add something, remove something? So it might change throughout. Supplements, that's kind of where that's at, you know, because in the beginning your body might need something that halfway through, after you've done some healing, it's not going to need anymore, so that will change. Okay, gives you kind of an idea. This we just give to you at the end. This is from us to you for coming to the seminar, just some recipes that will help, okay? All right, so lastly, how do I secure your exam? So for people that, we are an extremely busy practice. We only have so many appointments available at times. We always keep certain appointments available for the people that take time out of their lives to come and spend time at our seminar to learn from us. So they put up there on the window, you'll see some sticky notes. Those are our first available appointments. We will have other appointments available for just seminar people, okay? If you were to refer somebody else from the outside, of course they will get an appointment. It just might take a little longer for them to get an appointment because we keep separate appointments for the people that come to our seminar. It's just something that we give back for you spending time with us, okay? There. So, any questions? Yes.
So I have two questions.
Okay.
So, do you guys only deal with thyroid related issues here?
No.
It's
No.
not just limited to thyroid.
Thyroid, gut issues. We go on the total other side. We are a big peripheral neuropathy center as well for patients that have that. Jeff, anything else that you could say to that?
Right now, those are like
those are our biggest.
Our two specialties. Is
right now.
Thyroid, gut health, and like everything that's connected to thyroid. But if there's other pieces that are related, we can work with that too.
Because I like to say too, like, especially with our women, you know, your thyroid, gut hormones all kind of go together.
Yeah.
I know that's what I'm working on right now. I'm in my menopause phase, so that's what I'm working on. So it all goes together. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So another question is there any specific area of thyroid that you guys don't address in your therapy sessions? Or do you guys address everything from nodule to hormone, everything?
We'll take a look at it all, and again, if it's like beyond our care, we'll let you know up front.
Right.
Yeah.
Does that kind of
And
make sense?
if it's beyond our care, we try to find somebody to
We'll
help you
find
get to
someone
where you
that can
need to
actually
be.
help you get the answers you're looking for.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want to waste more of your time and money. It's like,
Right.
our goal is like, hey, if we can help you, great. If we can't, we'll let you know up front.
That's good.
Like we're coming from, like, full transparency. It's like, there's enough people here that we can help, and it's like, we want to help the people that want to partner with us.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we can't help you, we're not going to try and sell you on some plan
No.
where we think we might get some results or changes. Like, I prefer to be honest and upfront with people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And like I said, if it's something that we don't think we can help you with, we will help you find where you need to go.
Yeah, that's my promise to you, actually, because I can't stand the opposite of that. Like, that's just not treating people with dignity, and, you know, we try to take care of people, right? So if we can't help you, We're gonna help you find someone that can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that fair? Okay.
And I always say the big difference in if you're new to holistic medicine, the big difference is we're not here to treat your symptoms and put band-aids on your symptoms. You know, you're here to fix the problem and actually get healed.
Yeah.
So that's my promise to you
Can I
guys.
ask a question?
Sure.
Real quick. If you already lost your thyroid from surgery, is there anything you can
Good
do
question.
for that?
That's a
My
good
mom had thyroid cancer,
Mm,
so, and she's having a lot of trouble.
yeah.
And they want to decrease her synthroid because she's getting older and her
Mhm.
heart's going too fast, but yet she
Mhm.
feels horrible.
It's tricky because right, the brain has no concept of missing organ. It's always trying to work as if it's all there.
Yeah.
And so now we have an artificial hormone that we have to, now, the short answer is yes, we can usually do some things to help her out. Is it going to be, you can't regrow surgically. I don't want to limit the possibilities of what the body can do, but generally speaking, you're not going to regrow a thyroid gland, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a lot you can do to stabilize and help and support the whole system in that process. Yeah, that's not easy.
Yeah, because if you go back to the big picture we talked
Yeah.
about, if it's a brain problem that was affecting thyroid to begin with, it's like they might take the thyroid out, but it's like we still can work with the brain and the liver to get the rest of the system functioning there. Even though there's not the thyroid, it's like she'll probably always have to take some type of thyroid supplement. But getting the whole body on an energy abundant level, that's going to help support everything else. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, look, I wish we could charge you $200,000 for this stuff, right? Because it's like, it's worth it, right? You're like, it is so incredibly like what you bring to every person in your family, in your circle of influence. When you show up with your best self and the energy that you like, right? What does that mean to you and your family members? What does that mean to you and your future self and your goal? Like, it's invaluable. Is my point, right? So just we're here to support you on every level.
And a little tidbit with that, just to give you, if you're married and have a spouse and you end up getting home equipment, they can use it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Honestly, that's a big point though, because we're all about supporting the families. Like, honestly.
It's not gonna hurt them. It'll only help.
Yeah, like if you got this stuff, we can give you like, hey, so and so's got this going on. Well, we can maybe suggest ways that you can help them at home. Obviously, we can't like direct their care because we're not in that relationship with them. But yeah, I mean, you can use this on family and friends and help your communities. That's our whole heart. That's why we do these things. Okay? All right. Any other questions? We'll be here for some one-on-ones, but for HIPAA, we don't want to go to all the personal information in front of everybody. So thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart. Like, let's get you better, Yeah.
And like I said, there's some appointments up there. Those are just the very first available appointments. If those don't work for you, we'll be able to help you at the front desk to get you on. Okay?
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Did you learn something valuable? Was that helpful? Awesome. We did our job.
You can go first. I'll be back.